Almost everyone has a moment they replay in their mind, a decision they wish they could take back, a friendship they should have walked away from sooner, a warning they heard and ignored. Regret has a strange way of arriving late, long after the choice has already been made. But here's something most people never stop to consider. Thousands of years before modern psychology, before self-help books, before therapists and productivity experts, an ancient collection of wisdom had already mapped out the exact patterns that lead people toward ruin or toward a life they can be proud of. That collection is the Book of Proverbs. These aren't dusty religious sayings meant for a Sunday morning. They are field-tested observations about human nature, written by people who watched fools rise and fall, and wise men quietly build lives worth living. Today we're walking through 7 of these proverbs. Each one addresses a mistake so common that almost everyone makes it at least once. And the final one may be the mistake people ignore the most, because it's the hardest one to see in themselves. Let's start with something almost everyone has experienced. You meet someone new. They're fun, they're magnetic, maybe a little reckless, and being around them feels exciting. Slowly, without realizing it, their habits start becoming your habits. Their carelessness starts becoming your carelessness. Proverbs 13:20 puts it simply. Whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools suffers harm. This isn't about avoiding people who make mistakes. Everyone does. It's about noticing the direction someone is pulling you. Character is contagious, whether you intend it to be or not. Ancient wisdom literature understood something. Modern psychology later confirmed. We unconsciously mirror the people we spend the most time with, absorbing their values, their language, even their tolerance for risk. Think about the 5 people you talk to most. Are they pulling you toward discipline or away from it? Here's the takeaway worth remembering. You don't just choose your friends, you choose your future self. Now imagine a different kind of regret. This one measured in dollars. Maybe it's a purchase made on impulse, a loan that felt harmless at the time, or a habit of spending just a little more than was earned. Proverbs 21:5 offers a warning that feels remarkably modern. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. Notice the contrast isn't between rich and poor, it's between patient and hasty. In ancient agrarian society, a hasty farmer who planted without planning could lose an entire harvest. Today, hasty decisions look different, but the outcome is the same. Debt taken without a plan, spending built on emotion instead of strategy. The proverb isn't condemning ambition. It's warning against shortcuts that skip the slow, unglamorous work of actually building something. Wealth built quickly through impatience rarely survives. Wealth built slowly through discipline usually does. But money isn't the only place people rush ahead without thinking. Sometimes the mistake is refusing to listen at all. Picture someone who's warned by a friend, a mentor, even a stranger, and brushes the advice aside because they're confident they already know better. Proverbs 12:15 names this pattern directly. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man listens to advice. This proverb isn't suggesting people should abandon their own judgment. It's pointing out something subtler, that the people most in need of correction are often the ones least willing to hear it. Confidence feels good, but confidence without input is a blindfold. The wisest people in history weren't the ones who never needed advice. They were the ones humble enough to ask for it before the damage was done. And that idea leads directly into an even more personal kind of decision: who we choose to build our lives with. Few choices shape a life more than who we choose to love. And few areas are more clouded by surface-level judgment. Proverbs 31:30 offers a line that still cuts through modern dating culture with surprising precision. Charm is deceptive and beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. While this verse specifically praises character in a wife, the underlying principle applies to choosing any life partner, of any gender, in any era. Charm fades the moment life gets hard. Attraction alone has never been enough to survive a financial crisis, a health scare, or the slow grind of decades together. What lasts is character honesty under pressure, patience during conflict, integrity when no one's watching. Many people spend years chasing chemistry while ignoring compatibility. The wisest relationships are built on both attraction and substance. Choose someone whose values you'd want your children to inherit, not just someone who makes your heart race. Even the strongest relationships, though, are tested in a single, ordinary moment, the moment someone loses their temper. A careless word, said in frustration, can undo years of trust in seconds. Proverbs 15:1 addresses this with striking simplicity. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. This proverb isn't asking anyone to suppress their emotions or avoid honesty. It's revealing a principle about escalation. Anger responds to tone before it responds to content. A calm reply can de-escalate a conflict that a sharp one would ignite. Ancient wisdom recognized what modern conflict resolution research now confirms, that the first 10 seconds of a response often determine whether an argument resolves or explodes. The next time frustration rises, the goal isn't to win the exchange, it's to protect the relationship on the other side of it. But not every mistake is loud. Some are quiet, slow, and almost invisible until years have passed. Picture someone who keeps putting things off, the workout that never starts, the business plan that stays a plan, the difficult conversation that keeps getting postponed. Proverbs 13:4 captures this pattern with a phrase that feels almost eerily specific. The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. Notice the sluggard isn't lazy because they don't want things, they crave plenty. The problem isn't desire. It's the unwillingness to do the consistent, unremarkable work required to get there. Ancient wisdom often pointed to the ant as an example, a creature with no overseer, no supervisor, no one checking its progress, yet it works anyway. Discipline isn't about motivation. It's about doing the necessary thing whether you feel like it or not. And that idea sets up the final proverb, the one most people never see coming, because it hides behind almost every success. Here's the mistake almost no one believes applies to them. Picture someone who has built something real, a career, a reputation, a skill others admire. Slowly, their confidence shifts into something else entirely. Stop listening. They stop preparing. They start believing their success makes them untouchable. Proverbs 16,008 delivers what may be the most quoted and least applied line in the entire book. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. The tragedy of pride is that it rarely announces itself. It disguises itself as confidence, as competence, as earned self-assurance. History is filled with brilliant people, leaders, businesses, entire empires, who collapsed not from lack of skill, but from an inability to imagine they could fail. Pride blinds people to the very warnings that could have saved them. The most dangerous moment in anyone's life isn't when things are falling apart. It's when things are going so well that caution starts to feel unnecessary. 7 Proverbs, 7 patterns that quietly decide whether a life moves toward regret or toward wisdom. Choose your friendships with intention. Build wealth with patience instead of haste. Stay humble enough to listen. Choose character over charm. Answer anger with calm. Replace laziness with quiet, consistent effort. And above all, never let success convince you that you no longer need wisdom. None of these proverbs matter if they're only admired and never applied. Wisdom that stays in a book changes nothing. Wisdom that's lived changes everything. So here's a question worth sitting with. Which of these 7 spoke to you the most, and why? Leave it in the comments, because chances are someone else needs to hear exactly what you're about to say. If this gave you a new way of seeing timeless truth, consider subscribing, because there's more wisdom like this waiting to be uncovered. Because in the end, the years we spend gathering knowledge mean nothing if we never gather the courage to live differently because of it.